Welcome back to the Coaching Collective podcast. Today we are we're joined by Michael and Jude. And today the topic, as you would have seen by the title, is first exposure to PEDs. So we thought this would be a good little podcast. You know what's funny? I've actually heard, I don't know about you two, but I've had so many people tell me that they listen to the podcast all the time, and now I sort of question the things that I say in the podcasts. Because I'm worried that I'm going to say things that people are going to be like, is this guy fucked?
I question it every single time I have a recording.
You know what, you
Like,
say that recently a lot more people have been messaging me too, saying like, "Oh,
Yeah.
this episode was good as this episode was great."
Yeah. And I'm having people that are like, oh, I watched episode 81. And I'm like, what?
That was
Like,
like
are you scrolling
fucking
that far?
ages
yeah,
ago.
specific episodes as well.
Yeah. I had someone the other day say they listened to our Christmas one, Jude.
Fuck.
And I was like, fuck,
Maybe it's time to make a new one.
yeah, we're going to have to do another
Well,
one.
they recently listened to the Christmas one.
Yeah. And I was like, fuck,
Yeah.
maybe our views have changed since then.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I think that as well. What are we at views wise for that Christmas?
I don't know.
Oh God, there's so many here.
It's a good
We
thing.
haven't missed a week in a very long time.
Yeah. Anyway, but
Uh,
nonetheless, first exposure to
oh, the Christmas
PE.
one got heaps. Yeah,
Oh,
fuck.
did it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe we got to do another one. Maybe you
Yeah.
need to do it, Michael, this time because you might have different opinions to me and Jude. But me
Hmm.
and Jude's opinion was eat whatever the fuck I want. And just
Yeah.
make sure I hit my protein.
Yeah, one guy yesterday asked me, what should I do for my birthday this weekend? And I said, bro, it's your birthday. Like,
That's what I said
do,
as well.
do what you want.
I said that to everyone. I said eat whatever
Yeah.
you want on your birthday. Who gives a
Yeah.
fuck? But yeah, first exposure to PED. So obviously this is a probably a good one for anyone that's considering touching PEDs and considering it because I feel like we're going to go through a few things. So I've got a few little dot points to go through, but I don't know if you two want to start with anything or you want to
No, prompt me. I
prompt
will
you.
give everyone a heads up. It's 6 in the morning. I'm in Bangkok, so I'm a little bit groggy. I haven't had coffee yet either.
Is it 6 o'clock?
It's 6:50.
Oh,
Six sounds better.
yeah, it's four
Yeah.
hours. I forgot about
I
that.
woke up 20 minutes ago. Yeah.
But I feel like the first thing is obviously what you've got to like a few things that you've got to consider when you do decide to do
Mm.
it. And there's a few obviously little things that you're going to talk about. So you've obviously got like what is your why? Like why are you doing it? I guess you got to have sort of the knowledge of the aftermath, I guess, more than anything.
Mm.
And then obviously like side effects and things like that too, right? You've got to consider. So there's a few different points. I don't know what do you want to start with? Is there anything in particular? Do you want to go through?
I think beyond side effects, 'cause I think the side effects are going to come down to how far you push it and how long you push it for, as opposed to anything else. I think the biggest consideration is recognizing there's probably a decision that you're not going to go back on. And it's either going to, like, on early days, it's either going to make you or break you. So it's either going to be something that you continue to explore the world of and go deep into bodybuilding, or on the contrary, it's going to be something you dabble in and then just bodybuilding or training's never the same again. And the reason it's never the same again is because you get that experience of training at a super physiological standard and making super physiological progress. Don't get me wrong, the progress that you make on PEDs is not going to be exponential unless you are
Pushing it.
pushing it. Or you are a genetic outlier, but even a genetic outlier on, like, if you're on incredibly low dosages, like let's just say you're on uh, like a superhuman TRT, like a 250, 300 test,
TRT.
and maybe a small growth anchor of like a Masteron or a Primo, let's say 100 milligrams, you're not going to make exponential strides forward. If you compound it over like a year to 18 months, maybe. But if you're looking at like this as, if you're looking at P like using AAS in cycles, like I'm going to do a 16-week cycle and I'm going to be here or be here, like just don't bother.
Mm,
It's a waste of time. You're not going to get anywhere in 16 weeks. And even if you do, you'll probably regress all the way back when you do come off. It is a commitment, is probably the point that I'm trying to raise.
yeah.
Like, and it is something that you probably will have to execute across a long period of time if you want to do well with it. And if you're not willing to do that, then probably not the right decision.
Mm,
But they definitely aren't the magic which TikTok has made us believe. Not that I even have TikTok, but um, you're not going to take TRT and look better. I had one guy that I coached ages ago. He went on actual TRT and he said, "Why aren't I progressing like this or like that?" I'm like, "You're on TRT. You're normal.
yeah.
Like, you're normal now. Like, you're not going to get anything fans out of TRT. These guys that tell you they're on TRT are lying."
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
going
yeah,
back as well to the 16-week cycle thing, that's the magic number. People like who just start do like these crazy like 16-week cycles, and it's like they're not coached by anyone. They just keep ramping their dose up, and they think they're getting bigger, but they're just filling themselves with water, and they just keep getting more like watery. They think they're putting on size, getting bigger. They're filling out their t-shirts. They pull it back, and then everything comes off. They're like, "Oh nah, shit! I need to just stay on all the time now," and they just completely end up fucking themselves.
Yeah, and I also realize over time, I've realized over time, even just with friendships rather than actually people that I coach, is a lot of the guys don't realize the mental burden that it's having and the way it's impacting their like who they are.
Mm.
And they never will realize because a lot of them are so mentally unstable and so lack so much intelligence. That sounds terrible. That if you're when you are just redlining back off, redlining black off, they'll never realize the position that they've put themselves in psychologically.
Yeah.
And like even if they have partners, the partners might not realize it either because the partners might not have held them to that high of a standard to begin with either.
Mm.
Um, but like I'll go as far to say is as like I've said this before, 90% of people that use PEDs shouldn't be using them. Like I have clients that shouldn't be using them.
Mm.
I know people who are close friends who shouldn't be using them.
Yeah.
Like, and if you, yeah, it's not necessarily reserved for competitors, but like if you're using, you should be behaving like a competitor.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's my take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's lots of things, and it's like even for me, it's like I've got clients that are on, and it's like as soon as I tell them to get blood, like lifestyle clients, it's not even in competitors, and it's like when I tell them to get blood work done, they get it done. So it's like I'm not even hesitating to be like, yep, you shouldn't be doing this. And obviously they're not in fucking dosages that are fucking all the way up here, but like,
They're gonna do, but they're gonna do it anyway, 9 and 10 times.
yeah. And I feel like
Yeah,
it's just
whether
making
you're
sure
there
you're
or not. Yeah.
steering them in the right direction a lot of the time as well. But it sort of draws back to as well, like as someone that's considering it, you need to sort of find your why. It's like, why are you doing it? And I think one of the biggest ones that I don't love is outside of competitors is I'm doing it because I want to look good.
Yeah, because I'll never be happy.
Mm,
Like
yeah,
looking good, I think is a state of mind. It's not necessarily actually looking
yeah.
good.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah,
being content.
because
And it's like one of those things
yeah.
where it's like you always want to be better. It's like it's inevitably
yeah,
it's like I can look my best and I'll still look at myself and be like, nah, I want to look better.
Yeah, and a point that I often raise with clients too is like their happiness is what the most important thing in a process.
Yeah.
It's not me wanting them to be at this body fat or being at this level of muscle mass or look like this. There's a point at which they're happy, and obviously that applies to lifestyle clients more than someone who's getting on stage. But I guess that's referencing back to what we're looking at right now as well.
Mm,
But I think also you need to consider that regardless, however you want to frame it, like PEDs, like you can do everything as safely as possible. It is safer not to do them.
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
it is
100%.
absolutely safer not to do them.
100%.
Because it is taking years off your time. It is aging you internally. It is aging you externally. We did a whole podcast on this with Dean St. Mart,
Oh
who
yeah,
went
me
over like
too.
telomere shortening and whatnot. And your blood work can come up clean, and it doesn't mean much. Like it means it's a snapshot, but it doesn't mean that everything's good. The only
Mm,
way to really know that everything's good is like if you were doing organ scans quarterly.
yeah.
Yeah, which no one's doing.
Yeah,
And even then, like I'm sure there's ways around that too, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Like you'll never
Mm.
truly know.
Yeah.
But even as far as like the why too, like obviously you just gotta, yeah, there's so many like I feel like there's so many things you do have to consider. I think one of the big ones is as well outside of why is expectations and having realistic expectations and not expecting to be on gear for 8 weeks and absolutely blow up or like you said before, doing a 16-week cycle and being in this position where you look like a fucking freak all of a sudden. Like it's not how it works. It's like very much it's like anything. It's like any growth phase. It's like realistically growing with PEDs in is similar to growing without them, and it is still a long process. It's obviously just like ramped up that little bit more, which I think people don't realize. People do think it's like you're gonna start and you're gonna fucking blow up as soon as you start. And I think as well, like having those expectations of being like, yeah, how do I look? It's like, oh well, how come it's been 6 weeks and I still look relatively the same? And it's like, fuck, bro. Like
You're
if
in
you could
for a
blow up in that
long.
6 weeks, mate, everybody would be Mr. Olympia, I tell you what.
Yeah,
Mm. Yeah, there's not going to be any short-term results with it. Yeah, you might get a small acceleration off the bat, but um, genetic outliers are more rare than they are common.
Mm,
Yeah, and you often get people as well who will want to use, but they'll want to stay very conservative, but at the same time they'll complain about how they're not
not
progressing and they're
progressing.
not looking like this person, not looking like that person.
Mm,
Like, let's just consider that let's just assume in this situation that all their other habit or coexisting habits are perfect. Um, it's a difficult conversation to have because in these cases, and a lot of the people that like complain about side effects, not complain about side effects, but like freak out about side effects or freak out about this potentially happening or this potentially happening. I remember a coach said to me years ago, if that's the kind of personality that you are, it's probably not for you because there's people out there that don't care. I'm not saying that's right, but if you really want to move the needle with it, you're either going to have to, there's going to be one of two camps. You either got to take the time or you got to take the risk. And no one wants to take the time. And then there's some people that are willing to take the risk, not willing to take the risk. But then at the same time, taking the risk, like I've been in situations where I've run like huge dosages and I don't notice any difference compared to running a lower dosage.
Mm.
It just comes down to recognizing what's like the right approach for you.
Yeah.
People also expect to like feel something different too.
I hate when they say that. I want to
Yeah,
feel. I don't feel this,
I
and
don't
it's like
feel it.
good. If you don't
Or
feel
like
anything, it means you're not
what
getting any
or
side
like the
effects.
question
Yeah.
that people ask all the time is like, am I going to feel anything different if I was to do 200 tests or like 600 tests? And it's like, no, you're not going to
I'm
feel
gonna. If
anything.
I, I'll straight out say this, depending on listening. If you raise me, I don't feel this. You're a fucking idiot. Like I don't care what you feel,
You're
like
not
at
going to
all. I'd
feel
rather you
shit.
feel nothing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's a good thing if you're
it,
feeling nothing.
yeah. Oh, I don't feel the trend. Good.
So you don't want to.
Good. You shouldn't feel the trend.
You don't want to
Yeah.
feel it, bro.
If you,
That's
why would
bizarre.
you want to feel that? Why should you feel that? Like
Yeah.
when you look at the purpose of incorporating something like that, like what you want insomnia,
Yeah.
like you want night sweats, you want to be irritated, you want to rip
Yeah.
people's heads off. That's not what it's in for. Yeah.
It's pretty.
Ah, that one kills me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
I
just
don't
don't get it.
feel
Yeah.
it. I
No, the
don't
feel
But
one, the feel one's bad. The feel one's bad.
I was
feel
gonna say as well, but you got to realize too, it's like back to the expectation side of things. It's like I'm sure you've dealt with this before, Michael, where you've had people on dosages and they just don't respond. Like you can
Yeah.
start PEDs, anabolic, whatever, and some people just do not respond. They don't grow. They don't look any different.
Mm.
Doesn't
I
matter
still
where
feel
you
like that
push
comes
them.
down to this underlying things there. Like they're doing something wrong, surely. If
Nah,
you're
you know what, man?
entertaining,
Like
No,
I,
there's people that I've dealt with who are just like
yeah,
they just don't
they just
respond.
don't
Yeah,
progress no
okay.
matter what you throw at them.
yeah.
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 I
Generally
only
they
know this.
yeah.
I was gonna say I only know these things because when me and Michael used to PT at the gym and I used to sit in the office while Michael was doing his check-ins and consults and stuff, and I'd be sitting there listening into the conversations with people. And you'd just be like, and then the person would walk out and I'd be like, is that person on gear? And he'd be like, yeah. And I'd be like, man, like you gotta be kidding me, right?
You,
Like,
you got some, I've had some clients who, or like even just people that I know that do push it and they don't really progress at all.
mm,
But usually it's generally paired with someone who's quite risk averse
yeah.
and like don't want to escalate or anything like that. But like there's been cases where you just don't see anything. And like that's where it becomes a conversation is this is probably, oh, this is not really worth it for you.
Mm,
And you do to some degree feel bad because in these situations, some of them that I've dealt with really, really like bodybuilding and
mm,
really like training and really want to like compete at a high standard or whatever. But like you just realize pretty soon, pretty early, like it's never going to happen.
yeah.
Like I've got a couple of guys that I've run through the ring. I tried so many different approaches, and you reach a point where you just say, "Hey, look, I think another hobby might be for you." I know that sounds terrible, but
Mm.
yeah,
Mm,
it's a reality.
yeah,
Why would you want to take that risk to not really get any reward from it?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
I feel like we can justify, I can justify like the decisions I've made more so because it's made a career for me and it's something which is such a big part of my life. But if like I was a union tradie, I don't know if I could justify it, you know?
Yeah, no.
Like, or if I had a fucking restaurant, like, what do I need to get on stage for? You know? That's
Yeah.
just my take. Yeah.
Yeah.
When like no one in my world's gonna understand it at all. So I'm literally just doing it by myself.
Mm.
And I feel like the big thing that lacks is that team environment.
I
Yeah.
reckon that lack of response is like a genetic receptor issue. Like, obviously, this isn't like I don't really know as deep dived into this. I don't know if you guys would, but do you reckon that's what it could potentially be?
Well, you're going to have a genetic response to all inputs. So I would just say it would just be the genetic response in this department. But the it's going to be so deep on this level that it's going to be hard to make sense of, really. And we're
Mm.
never going to really understand it.
Yeah, I guess
It's
it's like anything, right? Like it's like any PD usage. Like some people need more, some people need less, some people respond really
yeah.
well. Like there's so many factors that obviously you're
Mm.
right need to be considered.
Yeah. I do find most people as a pretty steady medium. Like most people are going to be a pretty similar rate overall.
Mm.
Um, and that rate's slow. Yeah, but there is going to be outliers on either end of the spectrum. But I would there's fewer hyper responders than you would like be led to believe. Like I haven't dealt with many hyper responders.
Mm.
Like when you really
Hyper.
think about it, hyper.
Hyper.
Like
Yeah.
I've seen you, and usually if I have dealt with hyper responders, with a few in mind, like they're people that are pretty good to begin with. Like they're pretty dialed in to begin with, and they're in a position where they're trying to exceed a threshold.
Sounds like someone on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, me.
Let's try not link it back to anything here. Yeah.
um, nah, and you know what else as well? It's like me and Jude were having this discussion the other day, and we are saying how it's like how many years natural competing should you be before you consider PEDs, right? And Jude
Mm.
got told back in the day it should be 10 years of natural bodybuilding and natural
Yeah, I was told
progression.
10 years of natural
10 years of
bodybuilding
natural
before
progression before you can
considering it.
consider PEDs.
Who said that's
Um,
your old mate?
we'll talk. We'll tell you after the
We'll
podcast.
keep that one off the podcast.
Yeah,
But
I
like,
know
it's
him.
it's one of those things as well where it's like you sit there and look at that, and I feel like 10 years is a bit of a fucking stretch, man.
Yeah, I know.
Like in saying that, like, fuck, it's hard. Like, I don't think you should put some timer on it,
No.
like in the sense of be like, yep, it needs to be this many years, then you can consider it. Because at the same time, like, maybe doing them is what flicks a switch to the point where it's like you're fucking on as well. Not to justify taking PEDs, but at the same time, and not to ever say as well that doing PEDs is something that'll change someone to actually start adhering to their diet and their training properly. Because there's definitely cunts that start PEDs and don't do that. Like, for sure.
More do that.
Yeah. Because I think it makes up for gaps. But like, do you think this is probably more pushed towards you, Michael, but do you think there's a point where you do say to someone, it's like, yeah, maybe you can consider it now? Or do you sort of just try and emphasize the fact that it's like, I guess you try and push people in the direction of not doing it at all?
All right, so I'm 31. If I had my time again, well, I'd probably still utilize, to be honest. But I would basically say unless you are confident that you want to be in the competitive space and there'd be no purpose in utilizing PEDs. Like I just don't think there's any place for people outside competitors to be using them. That's just my take on it. Anyone who wants to do it to look good or whatever, girls don't care if you're jacked.
Guys,
They probably care if you're more skinny and fit anyway. Um, it's invasive, it's expensive, whatever. But I wouldn't say necessarily that. I would say it depends what kind of level you want to take bodybuilding to, and I think it wouldn't be a bad call to do one show naturally, just to
realize
reaffirm
you like
if you
it.
really like it or not.
Mm.
But like, it's not to say you can't do PEDs and then go back. It's just unlikely. It's highly unlikely, actually.
Mm.
So I don't think there's a many years. I think one show wouldn't hurt though, and I've had guys that do this. Like, and I think they're the best clients, the ones that do it properly like that,
Mm.
because they know that they want to do it. They they can get in shape. That they can work, and they're conservative.
Yeah, dude, you're just lucky you liked it after the first time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
know. Yeah.
know.
Um,
Mm.
I guess it sort of leads into like the next point for me, which I've got written down, is like I guess basic knowledge of what to expect, basic knowledge of like hormones, the importance of blood work. We've already covered like understanding the long-term commitments, but I guess we could talk about like what potential long-term side effects you can see. Um,
That just comes down again to how far you're pushing it. But like just renal function, cardiac function. I'd say cardiac function would be the biggest one. Um, and like the increased risk of cardiac decline later in life or just risk in general there. Neurological function is probably a big one, which is not really understood. And I think that will continue to be understood in the future years. You damage your brain quite rapidly with the onset of PEDs. Not to say that you're not seeing this kind of neurological degradation with other areas, like other implementations of life, but like that happens quite. It's just a very hard one to quantify. Like, you can get an econ, look at your heart, you can get your kidneys scanned, you can do all your kidney tests, but you can't
mm,
really check your brain out. And you do see personality shift while they're utilizing PEDs, and you can probably see it in yourself if you're a user. Like even in myself, I notice I'm significantly like shorter. Like my attention span is significantly shorter. My paranoia is significantly higher, and my anxiety as well compared to what it was like 10 years ago. Um, and my
Yeah.
ability to be present, and like I think that that's the case, but it's hard to say because it depends on periodic use.
mm,
Fertility is a conversation. Generally, you can bring fertility back as well. And I think the biggest issue that people have with restoring their natural fertility is they can't completely withdraw and go cold turkey to bring their baseline back
Yeah.
for long enough. Because obviously, fertility, I think in the largest study conducted, it's like it takes up to 18 months to see a full recovery of the entire cohort. I think
Yeah.
like 90% at 12 months, 60% at 6 months. So if you take sell a steroid use, you've got to be cold turkey for 12 months. Like they're
Very
probably
hard.
not going to be able to do that.
Who did
Yeah.
that recently? Oh, Ian. Ian Valier has done that.
Yeah. He didn't have an
Retired and came
injury.
off. Huh?
Wasn't he injured?
Nah. Retired, came off because he wanted to have kids and he hasn't been
Who
on.
am I thinking of? A Fuad. Yeah.
Yeah. Nah.
I got them mixed up. That's
Yeah,
stupid.
Ian came off completely to have
Mm.
kids, and he came off. He's been off now for when was his last? He did 2023 Olympia, I think, and now him and his wife are doing IVF because they couldn't do it naturally.
Oh, really?
Mm,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, obviously that's a bit of a different one. He's been on gear since he was like 18, and he's 33.
Yeah, he would have been going quite hard as well.
Blasting. He would have been
Oh yeah.
blasting. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Shit.
Yeah, but it's not like I know other bodybuilders who are quite well known who've done IVF.
yeah,
And sorry.
It's fairly common, yeah, from what I see.
Yeah, I think that IVF's pretty common, full stop. Like I know some people close to me who did IVF because the male could conceive, and they were never any pre-existing reasons
yeah,
why that should be the case. It's
Mm.
pretty common, but obviously you'd rather not go down that route, especially for repetitive conception, because if it's repetitive conception, yeah, it's money and it's time.
yeah.
Mm.
I feel like
Yeah, I
it's probably the biggest thing for a lot of people.
think it's only about 10 grand.
Yeah, but then I think you got to, oh yeah, and then I think you got to pay to store for however long as well.
Yeah, but then in the scheme of kids, what's 10 grand?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, bad.
Yeah, yeah, 10
Um,
fuck all. They're going to cost you a lot more than that. A pram's going to cost you five.
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
much 2.5.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
They
I
can
don't
be
know
more than
personal
that though.
experience.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, and then the importance of blood work as well is something people got to consider. Like, you do have to really put an emphasis on it. Like Michael said before, it is a little bit more of a snapshot, but at the same time, like it's our most readily available option to check where markers are at, to check where health's at. And another thing is understanding the importance of blood work and understanding what the blood work actually looks like, because you're going to see and get blood work back, and you're probably going to see some markers that are quite skewed, but you also have to remember that you are enhanced now, so those skewed numbers are a little bit different. Um, One of the big ones that people see as a PD use is probably like liver function and kidney function that sort of start to skew in a bad direction. But like, it's just the
I
way.
remember my doctor telling me, he's like, "Oh, if you don't come off the testosterone, you're going to die in like 3, 4 weeks if these markers don't come down." And I was just like,
You didn't actually say that, did he?
"Yeah, I swear, those are exactly." I remember I told you this a long time
Oh,
back, and
goodness.
when I told you, you were like, "Oh my God, what the fuck?"
Well,
Oh,
a prime example of this is like what Lucas's liver enzymes came back at 120. Like obviously being post show, but like I didn't see the 120 and think to myself, oh my God, he's dying.
mm.
You know what I mean?
I feel like liver's pretty over and pretty like
Resilient.
yeah, it's pretty unimportant.
You have
It's
people that are drinking,
unremarkable
you
in
have
like
people that are
most
drinking half a slab a day and their
yeah,
liver's
in
functioning.
most users it's unremarkable. Maybe on the tail end of a prep you want to look into it a little bit more, but like just generally speaking, a general user, I wouldn't be too worried about it outside of provided things are being used responsibly. I'd be yeah, heart like hematology, like electrolytes slash renal function. And then you'd probably want to go further with like heart scans and things like that. Again, these are all snapshots, but you want to make sure that you're doing the blood work at the most critical point. So when you're doing the worst things, you want to make sure you're doing blood work, or when you're
Mhm.
most aggressively using, and you also want to make sure you're doing your blood work when you are doing as little as possible for comparison's sake, because otherwise you don't know. So I think like straight after a prep, for example, like within a week of the prep is not a bad place to run labs, and also like the peak of an off season would be not a bad place to run labs, especially when we need to acknowledge that like if we're getting incredibly lean or we're incredibly heavy, both of these are going to have their own health burden in their own right. And I think a lot of people don't fail to recognize as well that with bodybuilding, um, the fact that we're big, lean, like I'm not a big person. I'm like 97, 98 kilos, but I'm 172 centimeters. There's nothing healthy about being 98 kilos.
Yeah.
Like if I was
No.
trying to be healthy, I'd be 80.
I can't
Hmm.
say that, bro.
That's a normal weight. That's a normal weight.
I was almost 92 kilos this morning.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, but yeah, man, for me, and like even I remember like in all my years, like I think about 85 is where I feel my best. Like
Mm.
85 on TRT, because obviously it's quite hard for me to hold 85 if I'm not. No, now anyway.
Yeah, I've always
Yeah.
said around that 82 is probably where I feel the best, and I still look
Yeah.
sort of good. You can get away
Yeah,
with it.
85, I feel I can jump out of my skin. Well,
Mm.
not this time around. I'm talking, I remember when I was in Singapore a few years ago. I was on like 120 test and I was 85 kilos and I felt like a fucking machine. I was doing
Bro,
Yeah.
cardio
the
and
last time I
running.
was 85 kilos, I was doing like 45 minutes of cardio a day, trying to pull down as much as I
Oh
could.
yeah, fuck, that would have been in proud.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. Yeah, no, that I remember I think I
This is just what happens when you're a big boy,
yeah, a
like
big
naturally.
yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Ah,
Yeah,
Um,
no, if I was done, yeah, 85 to 90 kilos would be nice.
Now, another one that I would like to touch on is just for people that are probably again looking to use, would be what to look out for. So things to look out for, signs that could be negative signs, signs that could be a bit of an indicator to be like, okay, fuck, what should I do here? And how can I change things? So any potentially negative side effects or whatever are standouts for a lot of people.
if your partner touches your nips and you get a bit of a jump,
Yeah, I don't think those kind of side effects are really too problematic as long as
no,
you
they're
actually
not.
quickly. Like it's like
Yeah,
when guys stress about balding, it's like
yeah,
you're
So,
probably gonna get bald anyway, mate.
man, I'm going
yeah.
bald
I
now.
think, sorry,
I'm going bald. I put my hand through my hair and my hand through my head and my hair falls out.
that's not shedding though. That's not balding.
Trust me, bro. You should see how much hair comes out.
Yeah. No, bald. I just yeah, one of the ones that bothers me is not bothers me, but I just think the sooner you can shave your head and just accept your fate in that department, the better it is for you. Like, it just makes me, when you really think about it, like people bend over backwards, sacrifice their health, spend thousands of dollars, like stress endlessly for hair. And when you really think about it, hair serves us no purpose
Go
whatsoever.
turkey.
Yeah.
I don't
People
think it
stress so
does. If
much about their
someone
hair.
can tell me what like biological purpose hair on our head has,
Hmm.
let me know. But when it comes to PEDs, I remember Kuba posted years ago, someone said, what do I do about shedding or losing hair while I'm on steroids? And he said, don't use steroids.
Yeah,
Because
straight up.
it's just,
Best answer.
and even then guys say, I can't use this compound because it makes my hair fall
Put
out.
out
And
the
it's like,
DHT.
well, guess what, mate? It means your hair's going to fall out anyway.
That's it.
So
We've
you're
Yeah.
got
fighting for
yeah.
losing. It's like one of the only battles we fight besides like the inevitable death that will follow us. You're losing your hair every day. Like every day you're getting closer to being bald.
Yeah.
The losing battle, you're not going to save it.
Mm.
But what would be like high blood pressure would probably be the easiest, most controllable, same as blood
Well, yeah.
glucose as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, but again, I do think both of those are more heavily mediated by body weight and body fat
Yeah.
compared with like the PEDs themselves. Like again, responsible parameters. Um,
Yeah. So like, you know
gyno.
what the hard thing is? The hard thing about the blood pressure and the blood glucose is, it's like they're issues that you're going to run into as a PD user as well. But like, I feel like if you're someone that's overweight, you're probably going to run into those issues too. So
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
easily
it's the
managed.
same. I was sort of like I was saying before. Whether you're 120 kilos as a bodybuilder, 120 kilos overweight, it's the same thing.
Mm.
Arguably, bodybuilder would be worse because more tissue would be more difficult for the
The body
body to thrive.
function. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it depends on how you want to look at it. You need to break it
Mm.
down
Yeah.
cyclically.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else really. Any other side effects
No,
that are, like glaring?
acne.
Yeah, acne
Yeah.
is probably a good one that like
Yeah,
oxidative, like just from oxidative stress, which I feel like can be managed.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Um,
Acne can be managed, but I do notice that there is individual responses to specific compounds which can cause issues. Like I see this in Mastron occasionally, but admittedly, like every time I've seen like, oh no, I've got clients that are quite diligent who still experience acne. It just comes down to their care factor in regards to how much they manage it. Do need to look
Yeah.
at oxidative stress.
mm,
But also like some elements of the stack design might be helpful. But I was going to say before I thought of one client or a couple of clients who are quite diligent who still get a little bit of acne. Like usually it's people that you know aren't consistent with their protocols, like injection protocols, aren't
injection frequency.
consistent
Yeah.
with nutritive elements, are overeating, are just basically neglecting fundamental parts of the process. Because like in my mind, I can think of three right now who I think that I know neglect parts of the process.
Mm. I
And
do
probably
think
the
there is
stuff cyber. Yeah.
I think when it comes to acne as well, that one that sort of flies under the radar a little bit for PED uses as far as like not oxidative stress and not like internally is actually hygiene. And I feel like obviously being someone that is on PEDs, you obviously do have a tendency to sort of sweat more. You can have more oil come out of the skin, things like that. So I think that does also ramp up the fact that you probably will get um like more acne.
Yeah, I think hygiene is very important because I notice my skin only flares up when I'm not looking after my skin.
Yeah. But I feel
Yeah.
like even if it is even just like showering straight after the gym,
Yeah.
or you do fasted cardio in the morning, get home, straight in the shower, like just things like
Mm.
that, I think make a huge difference. Um, and it's something that like probably in the last maybe 6 months that I started doing. Like, not that I was getting acne, but it's one of those things where I started to realize, and I was like, I really should like get home from the gym and have a shower.
Shower straight away. That was something I fell into as well. Like I was talking to James about it the other day. Like I don't have acne anywhere in my body other than like around my hip. And I
Yeah.
realized that the reason as to why it's like I fall into the trap of like coming back to the gym and before I shower, I'll quickly run to my desk, have a look what needs to be done. I'll sit down here for a little bit work, and I'm just sitting in these clothes that I've just sweated the shit out over the gym for the last hour and a half.
Mm.
Um, and it just causes that flare up around my hips. But as soon as I actually start showering straight after, I notice that it comes down like a lot. And it's just something people get lazy with. And I was also someone that fell into that trap as well, which I'm trying to get better at now, and it
Yeah,
actually helped a lot. So
Yeah, I think even like I just
mm,
using like an anti-dandruff shampoo I find is helpful as well.
yeah,
mm.
Yeah, just for antibacterial properties and whatnot. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
Um,
totally.
all right, sweet. I reckon
Yeah,
that's
bro.
enough. Wrap
Yeah,
up.
that's good.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everybody, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thank you.